for the second to last day of my stint as the Flames general manager, I think I will be answering some calls.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $200 in bonus bets if your first ever $5 bet wins. Today, I thought it would be a fun little cheeky idea to look at some of the trades from Armchair GM because I feel like it's a good place to start. Whether that starting point be for laughter, to evaluate where other people think your favorite player is at and worth, and sometimes to kind of actually take something into consideration. Make sure you are subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your Calgary Flames every day. And let's get cooking. Okay, so realistically, I am taking calls on everyone not named Dustin Wolf, Zane Parekh, and probably Matt Coronado, just because, I mean, honestly, just call. It's fine. I don't care. You can, we'll see. We'll see what we can do, but I don't think, anyways. Everything is worth looking into. And as we've talked about before, the draft capital and the younger your team gets ultimately helps you push this rebuild further and further along. I know people often look at the Montreal Canadiens as an option or a reference point because it took them about 3 seasons to get back into the playoffs and in a wild card spot after a few seasons of performing really badly. And of course, it's helped them out where, you know, they've had cap space so they could be kind of a cap dumping place. They have had great draft picks. They have been able to get good players through trades and then some. We are looking to build for the future. We are not looking for an immediate fix. Personally, I don't think that the Flames need to be trying to make the playoffs next year. I know that that's like a controversial topic or statement because, you know, you're not a real fan if you're rooting for your team to lose. And it's like, I'm not rooting for them to lose. I just don't think that they need to be trying to make the playoffs when they are not a playoff contender. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in order for them to really make a crack at the playoffs and not just a one-round appearance like Montreal and Ottawa. But checking out Armchair GM, this first trade, just it's a big fat what the heck. So it's between the Mammoth and the Flames. The Flames would receive Barrett Hayton, who's a forward, and a right-handed defenseman, Michael Kesselring, and a first-round pick. Hayton has a 20-goal season this year. Quite frankly, what Calgary sends is absurd. Kadri and Andersson and Florida's first from this year. I do not think the Flames need to be giving up a first-round pick when that is what you are giving to a team, let alone a team that is rebuilding or working their way out of a rebuild. The Flames would never package Andersson and Kadri in the same deal. I think that is just asinine. To me, undervalues like this return for those two players really undervalues Andersson and Kadri. And I have said it many times on this show, I am not a trade expert. I am not great at knowing like a player's, I guess, worth or like return. However, Nazem Kadri and Rasmus Andersson are going to require you to send a lot more. Nazem Kadri alone is going to need, you're going to have to send more. And I'm sorry to whoever put this on, Puckpedia, Armchair GM, but what were we thinking? I'm going to assume this was a Utah fan. I do not think that that discussion goes further than we're looking to give you a first and a 20-goal scorer in Barrett Hayton for Rasmus Andersson. That's, you leave out the right-handed defenseman. You leave out Kadri. The Flames are not giving up a first-round pick, a late first-round pick, mind you, for any of this. To me, that seems incredibly silly and counterproductive. But you know what? Sometimes we all have to just roll with the punches. Another one that I saw was Matt Barzal for Sam Honzik, Henry Muse, and 2 second-round picks. But this wasn't until, like, this was a future trade. So not something that would happen now, but like 2-3 years down the line. And I just have to say no. I don't think Matt Barzal is necessarily what the Flames are going to need. Sure, he can score goals, but he's also he's like 27 years old. There's really no need for the Flames to add another 27-year-old to this roster. Unless you're like, a proven superstar. And I just don't think Barzal has necessarily consistently proven that. Sorry, is that a hot take? But coming up next, we're going to talk about some hits and misses with some more trades and just exactly what the Flames defense has to do in order to see success. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments, whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player. There has never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before, tip-off, and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. New to FanDuel, it is the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. If you're not interested in betting on the NBA, why don't you go put in a ridiculous bet for the Florida Panthers to win it back-to-back? I think that is something that could cash in on. So why not, right? Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast wherever you get your show. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts and YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. And let's talk about the Flames defense, because this is something that needs a lot of work. And I have felt this since we knew that the Flames were going to be trading Noah Hanifin, Chris Tanev. And I say Nikita Zadorov because he was a good third pairing defenseman. I do not think that he necessarily added as much value as Chris Tanev or Noah Hannafin, but he was still a piece that rounded out your defense and made a difference. Right now, Miromanov, Pahal, Jake Bean, Joel Hanley, like, you need to find better options. And you can absolutely do that. You can start weeding out players like Miromanov, Braden Pahal, and Jake Bean. I'm sorry, but I really feel like there are better options out there. And I understand that, you know, you're not going to necessarily sign every solid defenseman in free agency, but you have to take a look at what else is out there and what you might be able to acquire through trade. Because to me, this is one of the bigger areas of concern, as well as scoring. And this first trade, for all intents and purposes, let's pretend that Kadri has waived his no movement clause. And same with Rasmus Andersson. Like, let's say, you know, the time has come. Okay, we got this. Like, let's move forward with it. So Calgary gets Kirby Dach, Jaden Struble, and Calgary's 2025 first round pick back. So that's pick number, I think, is it 9? Let me see. No, it's not 9 because it's top 10 protected. In true Flames fashion, it was pick 16. So they would receive their 16th overall pick back, and then they would have the 18th and then wherever Florida finishes as well. So again, Kadri to Montreal, and the Flames retain 25% of his salary. The Flames get their 16th overall pick back, Jaden Struble and Kirby Dach. Okay. This one I'm very on the fence about, mainly because Kirby Dach has had a lot of injuries since coming into the league. And I thought that things would be better for him in Montreal. And it kind of feels like they are the same. And I hate saying a player is injury prone because I feel like it stuff happens, right? This is hockey. Wrong place, wrong time sort of situation. It happens all the time. But he missed 4 months with a wrist injury in 2020, was out May 5th to September. So 4 months with another wrist injury. He had an illness, two illnesses in 2022. A shoulder injury that kept him out the entire, actually from April 22 to September 22nd. So I was back for the the start of the regular season. February 2023 to March 2023, he had a lower body injury. So that's about a month. He had an upper body injury that kept him out ended his season March 29th, 2023, and was able to return skating September 28th, 2023. So that's 6 months. So he was also out a little over a month actually, that is a lie. That is over a year. So October 2023 to September 2024 with a knee injury. That is a lot of time. And February 25th to September 15th, 2025 with a lower body injury. I feel like that is a lot of time to be missing given how young of a player he is. He tore his, sorry, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm reading this correctly. It is the second straight season knee knee ending. It is the second straight season-ending knee injury for Kirby Dach, who sustained a torn ACL and MCL in the same knee in the second game of the 2023-2024 campaign. He had to have surgery to start this year. We already have Connor Zary, who is already battling knee injuries and re-injuring the same knee. I'm not necessarily sure the Flames need to take on that risk. I think that Kirby Dach is a good player, but it's something that I just, he is everything the Flames need. A right-handed center, a right center with a right shot, 24 years old, and he has missed so much crucial development time because of his injuries. And that starts to catch up to a player. Back-to-back season-ending injuries. That raises a red flag for me. It really does. I don't like that. And the other part of this trade is Jaden Struble, who is currently doing like the seventh, or this past season, he played the role of the seventh defenseman. And they aren't really sure how they want to use him. And I get that. I think every team runs into this situation at one point or another. And based on what I had read, I mean, he's a good defenseman. He's not like flashy. He's not, he's not going to make a lot of highlight reel stops and whatnot. But it would be nice for the Flames to get another young defenseman. But again, would it necessarily be an upgrade over Miromanov, Pahal, and Bean? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like on paper, this looks good. Like without thinking of anything, it looks fine. But then you look at Kirby Dach's injuries and it's just like, why would we take that on? But it's something I would consider. Something I wouldn't completely write it off. I'd want to get his physical records, like if that's possible. Take a look at like what they're doing for strength and conditioning, like what rehab did he do with his first knee injury, and then maybe what are we doing differently with the second time around, just to maybe see if they're doing anything to, really work on the strength of the knee and, get those muscles back to where they need to be. But coming up next, we are going to take a look at two perplexing trades that caught my eye that I might have to send through to NHL headquarters and get this done. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're following the show on YouTube and on Instagram at Locked On Flames, and you're following me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Jess Belmosto. Mason McTavish, okay? This was a name that came up and kind of surprised me. This is the name that has been really exciting around Anaheim. I think that Anaheim has gone through an interesting part with their rebuild because they did trade Drysdale, and I don't know, he was one of the highly coveted draft picks that year. But obviously, Trevor Zegras' name comes up all the time, as well as McTavish. And this is what this armchair GM has to offer. Mason McTavish and Anaheim's first-round pick this year, as well as Winnipeg's second-round pick for Rasmus Andersson. I do think that that's a lot. I do think that is a lot to get both draft picks. I think you get McTavish in a first. I think that is maybe something you could do. I don't necessarily know if the Ducks are going to just hand away their draft capital as well when they are also in a rebuilding stage. I'm just trying to find McTavish's injury list because I feel like I've seen his name all the time out for one reason or another. So this season alone, he missed the final 6 games of the season after suffering a sprained MCL against the Calgary Flames, which is kind of ironic. And then he did miss some more time to start the season, which I found interesting. It was an injury, the undisclosed, true NHL fashion, right? But I guess you have to take a risk on some players, and I think his injury, he has played more games than Kirby Dach, and I think that this is fine. I think that you take a look at this, you do what you can, and you know, Anaheim's defense could really use some help. The Flames need to score, and bringing in a forward that can score and help your centers, or sorry, center that can help out your wingers really would help. Would be a great add to the lineup. I think that both Dach and McTavish may benefit from a change of scenery. Again, the injuries with Dach are really concerning, and I really want to know the extent of McTavish's injury, even though they're saying he didn't need surgery to end the season. Just kind of see where things are and any past oopsies along the way. This last trade, I think you have to say yes. You have to say yes to this one. Even if the first part of it sounds absolutely ridiculous. And that would be Matt Dumba and Mavrik Bourque for Rasmus Andersson. Sign me up. I don't care. I'm not looking any further. Rasmus Andersson, get ready to learn cowboy because you're going to Texas. You're going to Dallas. They're trying to obviously unload the final year of Matt Dumba's contract. It's like $3.9 million for this final year, whatever. The Flames have cap space. I'm not worried about it. So just bring him to Calgary for a year, put him in as rotating in on your defense, sit Jake Bean, I guess. I don't know. But Mavrik Bourque is another player that the Flames could just eat up. Like, he is a steak dinner. He is the most appealing thing on the Flames radar. He's 22 years old, with the right shot, plays center. Give it to me. I would love to see the Flames add a player like Mavrik Bourque. The Flames need to increase their scoring, as I previously mentioned. I think it's going to cost you more than just Rasmus Andersson, but the things that could be accomplished if this is executed properly would be beautiful. It would turn the grayest skies to the sunniest days. It would do a lot of things. It would feed children. Craig Conroy would just like solidify himself as like the greatest general manager in Flames history. I mean, hey, it's me. I'm making this trade, so I guess I'm the greatest general manager in Flames history. But in all seriousness, I do not think the Stars are doing that. I mean, they would have to be stupid. Very stupid. Very emotionally charged. Very stupid to do something like that. Trading Bourque. But you know what? We know that NHL GMs kind of have their moments. So I say go for it. Get it done before someone changes their mind. Rasmus Andersson, I'm sure you have some cowboy boots. I'm sure you have a cowboy hat. you're going to Dallas, bud. And that'll do it for me here on today's episode of Locked On Flames. Thank you all so much for joining me and hanging out. I hope you have a fantastic day. Make sure you are subscribed to the show wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. And please remember to be kind and take care of yourselves.